Okay, so I have a cheat sheet here today. I've been trying to work through this cold that I've had for third week now. I don't get sick very often, but when I do, woohoo! NyQuil. Sometimes it's just, you don't want to do it, but then if you don't get any sleep. And so we'll see what happens here. In lieu of the 4th of July, I know that it is such a blessing to live in the United States, in a free country, where we can have a job that we choose, to work where we want to work, to have relationships that we choose to be in without being chastised, to worship or follow a philosophy of our choice. So freedom. Today I want to go a little bit deeper than that, and I want to recognize the freedom of the will. Because it doesn't matter where you live in this world and what you do. Many people live here in America but still don't feel free because of the choices that we make. The will and the freedom of will. Well, you know what the real freedom of will is? The freedom of thought. Today I want to dedicate my lecture to the freedom of will. So many times we get caught up in living day by day, earning our living, focusing on our deeds, things that we have done, we need to do, our home life, our work life, our children, our relationships, and we just keep moving. We keep going without even thinking, what are we doing? I'm tired, I need to eat, I need to get up, I need to go. I'm one of those. 18 places at one time, right? Meditation, centering, bringing you back. Do not start your day without having a moment to refocus and gather. Never go to bed without saying thank you. Thank you for what I have. Thank you for allowing me to be in this day. Thank you for allowing me to have this physical body and this mind and this brain so that I can go in 18 different directions. You know, I mean, certain people just function that way. I don't know what I would do. I laugh and I say, God, if I could just spend one day at home, do you know what I'd do? 18 different things at home. That's just how I move. The freedom of will. We are always constantly creating. We create our reality all the time. Our attitude, how we treat others, how others treat us. It always feeds in this great computer of source. Our thoughts are what create our reality, whether it's negative or positive. Wherever you place your focus is what you are going to create in your world. If you're thinking of things that are negative and you're angry and you're frustrated, guess what you run into? People that can't drive very well. Okay. People that are not very nice to you, doors that close, phones that all of a sudden quit working when you're in the middle of a conversation, bills that come in at the last minute. Have you ever noticed that the energy that you put out, really notice the energy you put out is what you attract to you. Whether you want it or not. So why not make an attempt to put good energy out? What are you saying? What are you creating in your world that creates your reality? You know, I try to be positive, but it just seems like there's so much junk going on in the world today. I'm sorry, you can take the word try and just throw it in the garbage. Because once you put that word with that sentence, you have just voided the entire attempt completely. Napoleon Hill. Love Napoleon Hill. Listen to him 5 days a week while I'm making my deliveries. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, regardless of how many times you have failed in the past. How many times have you wanted to achieve something and you failed and it didn't happen, and later on you said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that didn't work out. Can you imagine? You know, sometimes doors close for a reason. It saves us from what we couldn't see in the first place. When you ask your guides for help, when you ask your angels for help, when you ask your God for help, always request that it's for your highest and best good. And if it doesn't happen in your time, but it happens on God's time, maybe there's something that's really happening in the process for your own good. Maybe something didn't come through because something better down the line is coming your way. And God knows that. And your higher self knows that. Maybe you didn't get that job that you really wanted, that you thought you really wanted. Later to find out that you got another job and you see people working in a job position of the one you thought you wanted and they're miserable. Does that make sense? Because, you know, it kind of doesn't make sense if you think about it. But what I'm trying to say is, this happened to me. You know, I really wanted this certain job for a long time, and I said, wow, that'd be really great to work there. And now that I'm in a position where I can see those people in that job that I thought I wanted, none of them are happy. And they feel trapped. But trapped, we know, is just an illusion of the mind. You only allow yourself to be trapped because you can only focus on the moment instead of being brave enough to take a step and go into the future. So, thank you, God, for seeing and knowing what I didn't know. Boy, that happens often. What are you thinking about? What are you seeing in your mind's eye? Are you seeing yourself successful, getting out of debt, getting the job you want, getting the grades you want? Do you surround yourself with people who support your dreams? So important. You know, there are some times, I know when you're younger, I see it all the time, because fortunately I started over, so I have younger kids too, who are really, they're competitive and they're into sports. And it's like, it's so confusing when you really try hard and you put everything into it and you're doing so good, and then somebody comes over and says, you think you're all that, you're not that good. And then, you know, I see my son and he's like, oh, they said that I wasn't doing so well on the mound today. And I'm like, there are 15 people that tell you how amazing you are, and you're going to hold on to that one thing. That one statement. And how many of you do that? Really? How many of you? Yeah. It's just, and you can see someone's energy go all the way down. How about when you feel great and you leave the house and you look great, and maybe somebody gives you a look like, I don't think I would have wore that today. And you're just like, what's wrong with what I wear? I look fabulous. But does that little voice inside your head go back to what that person said? Not anymore. Good girl. Good girl. Boy, but have we had to learn through the knocks, right? To not care what other people's opinions are, because what matters is how we feel on the inside. And if you want to feel great on the inside, share it with others and help them to feel great. Because what you give out comes back to you. What you think is what you attract. Are you focused on your failures? How unhappy are you? Or how unhealthy are you? Have you ever seen people comparing themselves? Oh my God, you think you have it bad. I have to do this, I have to go there, I have this bill and that bill, and oh, my leg hurts, and oh, you know, my shoulder's been hurting too. And, you know, I have this, I've got this pain in my stomach, and now I have to go to the doctor and get it checked out. And they're just going back and forth. What a horrible competition. You don't want to compete like that. How about, I am doing so great for my age. I love that. for my age. Age is just a number, right? And, you know, instead of comparing yourself with how bad off you are, how broke you are, how many bills you have, how many ailments you have, why don't you say, you know, I'm really proud of myself because there was a time when I struggled, but I don't struggle anymore because I know I will always be provided for. God's riches and wealth come flowing down upon me like rainfall from heaven, and so it is. Change your mantra. I am in great physical health. You know, there are some things that are going on in my body, but I know that if I change my diet, if I change what I'm doing in my lifestyle, that these things are going to get better because the body is amazing. It has the ability to replenish itself. It's temporary. And if you have something that's not temporary, then find out what it is that you can change what's going on in your life and accept and move forward. And, you know, it sounds cliche, but make the best of what you got. Isn't it a lot easier to make the best of what you have than compare the worst with somebody else and get taken down that road? Do you allow yourself to get into a pity party, or do you try to avoid these friends, family members, or, you know, we all have them. The ones that always are miserable and everybody else has it better than I do. I've had to work hard and go without all my life and things just don't seem to get better. Do you just want to chew your arm off and run away? I mean, and the phone rings. Thank God the name comes up on the phone, right? You're like, off. Oh, I'm sorry. I just couldn't get that call for the last month. But, yeah. But you automatically know because you don't want to be in that energy. But how about, you know, I was talking to my husband one day and I said, you know, people change things in their lives. If you have a problem with alcohol, you certainly don't want to hang out with friends that drink, right? If you have friends that swear, like sailors and on payday, and you're trying to be mindful of how you speak, you're certainly not going to go hang out with a group of truckers, you know? How about if you want to change your attitude? How about if you want to change your personality and you want to think positive? Can't you just tell people that are negative? It's like, you know, I'm really trying to make these positive changes in my life. And I really do love you and respect you and hope the best for you. But I just can't be around any kind of energy of negativity or complaining. So I would love to hang out with you. But while I'm hanging out with you, can you please make an effort to only think about things on the bright side, or just because I'm really trying to make changes in my life? Do you think that that person could accept that? Well, then that would be our excuse for not being able to answer the phone again, right? I need to make changes in my life. Because I find that I think about negative stuff all the time and it's bringing me down, and I'm willing to make the changes in my life. So therefore, either you have to be on board with me or we're just not going to be able to hang out. Well, you know what? I started doing that. And lo and behold, people who have a swearing problem, who know that you're trying to quit swearing, they are mindful not to swear around you. And you know what? People who know that you don't want to hear complaining, they stop complaining around you. Boy, the minute you're gone, they can't. They just got to let it go, because you'll hear it from your other friend. Oh my gosh, guess who came to visit me today? Yikes. And you're like, well, they visited me and they did pretty good. So just wanted to let you know that's possible. Freedom of will. Say what you want in your life. What you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept. Is it demanding? Is it demanding to want good energy in your energy field? Oh, well, if it's demanding, I mean, it's not a lot to ask for, is it? Well, I'm going to tell you another great point that I loved when I was studying. There is very little difference between people, but that little difference makes a huge difference. Do you know what the little difference is? Attitude. That's right. Do you know what the big difference is? Whether it's positive or negative. The freedom of will, the one thing that no one can take from you, no matter what. There are no victims, only volunteers. What are you volunteer to give up? Is there anyone who is 100% in control of their thoughts at all times? Perhaps. I wish I could say I was one of them. It can happen. Practice makes perfect. I practice all the time. Pay attention. Pay attention to your feelings. You know, my husband made it clear to me that I start to go downhill around 7 p.m. Well, that's because I'm up early. I'm a 2:30 in the morning girl. And so 7 o'clock at night, if I'm hungry and I'm tired, I've learned to shut up. Okay? So be nice. I don't make any decisions. We don't do homework. You know, we don't do bills. We don't do anything that I can't be in a clear mindset. I'm a powerhouse in the morning. Man, if everybody got up at 4 or 5 in the morning and I could make my phone calls, the world would be all sunshine and daisies, but that's not the world today. You know, I'm still good around noon and all, but man, how many of you have noticed when you start getting hungry or tired, this is not the best time to be approached with difficulties? Okay? Kids gotta learn this at an early age, and my husband was so great at this. He coached all of the kids and said, there is a wrong time and there is a right time to approach your mother. This depends on the answer you want. If you're seeking for a yes, check out her mood. How is she? And you can pretty much guess what your response is going to be. Mood, timing. What time are you going to ask her about this? When are you going to drop the bomb of what you want to do? So they learned. The younger ones, it took them a little bit longer. The older kids tried to say, dude, no, we don't go there. We don't, there's a certain time. Catch her in the morning. She's great. Catch her when she's in the morning and in a hurry, before she has a lot of time to process it, right? So they got it down. But now they teach my grandkids. So, and we're a sucker for the grandkids. Knowing what affects my attitude is half the battle. What affects your attitude? How are you feeling when you make decisions that you make? Never go to bed angry. Figure it out. If there's something you need to get off your chest, take a minute and write it down. Words from here to paper do amazing things. Writing letters to people who are here or no longer here, it gets it out. It keeps it from being blocked inside. Whether that person really receives it or not, or is on the other side, is not as important as you having the ability to get it out. Sometimes you don't want a response. Sometimes you don't need one. And if you would like a response, then that's the time to make sure that they get it. But don't carry things within yourself that create stagnancy. We all have the freedom of will to be the creator of our world. To be happy or unhappy, it depends upon you and the company that you keep, the thoughts that you entertain. For me, I know that to create happiness in someone else's world brings it back to me 1,000-fold. I am in my zone when I am teaching and giving tools. I can't think of a better thing in this world that I'd rather do And I remember when I was a little girl, and I used to get in so much trouble because they'd say, your daughter wants to teach the class. She thinks she's smarter than me. And I wasn't. It was just that sometimes you can explain something better than someone else. And if somebody's looking at you with that, that lost, gone, far away look, clearly there's no aha there. There's no light bulb. And if you can see it, and you can feel it, and you can know it, then you can give it to someone. Right, Sylvia? As an artist, isn't that great if you teach somebody how to appreciate art, how to see art in the way that you see it, how to feel it, how to give it, how to give somebody the experience that you've learned, but you're not doing it out of anger, you're doing it out of love. Man, that returns to you, and it feels so good, doesn't it? Another thing, too, about making people happy that I've learned, do it for real. Do not sacrifice your happiness to make someone else happy, because that's fake. And it will come back and it will bite you. You cannot sacrifice the real you and who you are and give to someone else and expect good things to come out of it if in the end you have regret and you have guilt, because that's a very heavy feeling. When you share happiness and good things and desirable things, then wonderful, good things will come back to you. Remember, it's all about projecting. What am I projecting? What am I giving? If you share unhappiness, you attract unhappiness. If you give happiness, you attract happiness. Not everybody's going to reciprocate that, though, right? Sometimes you smile and people don't smile back at you and you think, but you don't know where they are. Maybe they're just deep in thought and maybe they're incapable of being happy. That's not your problem. It's not your job to make the world happy. It's your job to be happy, because true happiness that comes from the inside out is what attracts true happiness from the outside in. When I'm around conflict or someone who is arguing, I ask myself, all right, why am I attracting this into my world? Is it something I'm not aware of? Is it my energy? Am I tired? Am I hungry? Am I frustrated? Am I maybe perhaps projecting a negative energy towards somebody because I'm actually thinking about another instance that happened with someone else? How often does that happen? You say, oh, I'm sorry, I just had a really bad day. I didn't mean to take it out on you. That's not okay. It's not okay. I was dealing with my son yesterday, and he started snapping at my other son, and he's like, but you don't understand. I was hungry, and I was tired, and I had a bad day, and he took my last $4 and went to the snack bar, and I'm just like, welcome to my world. But, I have to think. I need to watch myself, because they're learning from me. And you know what? Our kids don't just learn from us, but our friends learn from us. Our coworkers learn from us. We teach them how to treat us, which leads to the next thing. How do I treat myself? How can you expect somebody else to treat you with love, respect, and dignity if you do not show the same thing for your own self? Have sympathy for yourself. Take a moment. My God, we're having a human experience. Things are not always wonderful, even though we want them to be wonderful all the time. When you're having a bad moment, a bad day is a big stretch, right? I mean, you got to take a breath, have some stillness and some quietness, and redirect your energy and your feelings. But if you run around all the time and you're just like, oh my God, I can't do anything right, and I'm frustrated all the time and I make all these mistakes. Then somebody comes along and goes, "Was it me? You heard, this person always makes mistakes and they don't think." It's like things can be pushed off onto you, or you can become the blame for everything, and you can become that center attraction of negativity. You need to draw boundaries. You need to be able to show people that, you know what, hey, I'm a good person. I'm a loving person. I will love you, support you, and respect you, but I also expect this treatment in return. I'm not a doormat. We all have our moments, and I will love you and give you your space, but sometimes I need that love in that space too. And this is a lot of, information that really needs to be given in relationships. Us women, we're audible creatures. We need to be told, hey, you're doing a great job. I love you. You're beautiful. But you know what? Men don't get as much credit as they should either, because they're also audible. We just don't think they're listening sometimes, but they really are. Men also need to be told, hey, you know what? You're doing a really good job. Thank you. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for always being there for me and listening to me and loving me unconditionally. It can go that way in any kind of relationship. Siblings, parents, co-workers, relationships. Take the time to treat yourself with respect and treat others with respect. Another wonderful poem by Napoleon Hill. If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win but think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you'll lost. For out in the world we find success begins with the will. It is all a state of the mind. And if you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger and the faster man, but sooner or later the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. We know this is not just men, but this is for men and women. Another poem by Zig Ziglar. Remember that failure is an event, not a person. You were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, expect to win. Your attitude, not aptitude, will determine your altitude. I love that. When I was taking my boys to flying lessons, one of my sons would hang on really tight to the wheel. And I love what the pilot told him. The pilot said, if you want to fly like a bird. Without turbulence, a plane can't even get off the ground. So, a bird does not get knocked down by the push of the wind, but merely changes flight pattern, often to soar and glide with the ever-changing air currents. Take a breath. You never see a bird just fly like this, right? They're always kind of going in different ways, and that's kind of how you need to live your life, because things don't always work out the way that we think they are, but sometimes if there's a change in the air pattern, it might actually work out to our benefit. In this wonderful roller coaster of life, we'll always have challenges. That I would like to refer to as opportunities. It is all about being aware, forming a positive mental attitude, also known as finding the silver lining. Freedom of will is choosing to be happy or unhappy, having a proper diet, one that consists of what we put into our bodies physically, mentally, and spiritually. It is important to be thankful, always. Be thankful of where we are and what we have, instead of what we don't have. Why is it that We don't take time to notice and appreciate what we have until tragedy strikes. That's when we say, God, I wish I would have just known. You know, it shouldn't take that. Be aware of it each morning when you get up. Remember the serenity prayer? God, grant me the serenity to change the things that I can change, to accept the things that I cannot change, and to have the wisdom to know the difference. One more Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill. The oak tree sleeps in the acorn, the bird waits in the egg, and in the highest vision of the soul, the waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of reality. Awake, arise, assert yourself, the dreamers of the world. Your star is now in the ascendancy. When you are right, your world will be right. With right thought, you can attract health, wealth, and happiness, and good things into your life. One little closing thought. A negative mind will never give you a positive life. If you don't like what's going on in your life, change it. You have freedom. The freedom of thought, the freedom of will. Set a divine plan of purpose. But you've got to take the steps. Take the steps and ask for guidance. The doors will open, and you can do whatever you set your mind to. If you can't see it, then you cannot achieve it. See it. Know in your heart that it's going to happen, and above all, be thankful that it is going to happen, because that is how you create. Namaste.